The Carbon Capture Conundrum, Underground Storage. A new study published in the journal Nature has delivered a sharp reality check to global climate strategy. For decades, carbon capture and storage, CCS, has been viewed as a limitless safety valve for industrial emissions. However, the new analysis found that the space available for safe geological carbon storage is nearly 10 times smaller than previous estimates. This reframes carbon storage not as a bottomless solution, but as a scarce and finite resource that must be managed with extreme care. The collapse of theoretical capacity. Previous optimistic estimates of global storage potential reached as high as 12,000 to 40,000 billion tons of CO₂. The new study established a more realistic, prudent planetary limit of just 1,460 gigatons of CO₂. This dramatic reduction is the result of applying critical risk filters that previous technical models ignored. Researchers excluded areas prone to earthquakes, groundwater contamination, and regions too close to urban areas or sensitive ecosystems. This risk-based filter slashed the abstract geological potential by nearly 90%. Why CCS can't be a silver bullet? The most critical implication is its effect on global temperature goals. The study calculated that if this entire prudent capacity of 1,460 gigatons were used exclusively for carbon removal with all other emissions stopping, it would only be enough to reduce global warming by a maximum of 0.7 degrees Celsius. This figure is nearly 10 times less than some previous assumptions and proves that CCS cannot be the sole mechanism for reversing climate overshoot scenarios. The intergenerational conflict. The research defines carbon storage as an exhaustible, intergenerational resource. At the current rate of global emissions, approximately 38 gigatons per year, the entire safe storage budget equates to less than 40 years of current emissions. Many climate pathways assessed by the IPCC would deplete this capacity before the year 2100. This creates a moral dilemma. Should the limited space be used now to offset continued fossil fuel use, or be reserved for future generations to use for long-term carbon removal from the air? The political and commercial hurdles. The finite nature of the resource is not the only challenge. The CCS industry faces high costs, complex infrastructure challenges involving cross-border pipelines, and persistent public opposition. Furthermore, most carbon capture projects currently inject the CO₂ to aid in enhanced oil recovery, effectively subsidizing the extraction of more fossil fuels. This reinforces critics' arguments that CCS is being prioritized as a way to prolong fossil fuel dependence rather than solve the climate crisis. The call for front-loaded emissions cuts. The study's unambiguous message is that humanity has far less margin for error than previously thought. Policymakers must treat carbon storage as a scarcity and rapidly accelerate deep front-loaded emissions reductions at the source. This reframing strengthens the case for immediate electrification and the strategic deployment of alternative sinks, like direct air capture, DAC and biochar, to reduce reliance on the finite subsurface budget. Conclusion. The 1,460 gigaton limit is a definitive global ceiling. It forces the world to abandon the assumption of infinite storage and confront the primary task, cutting carbon emissions today. The safety margin is smaller and the clock is ticking faster. If you enjoyed this deep dive, follow and subscribe the channel for more videos like this.